one of Jesus's 12 apostles may have traveled thousands of miles to India. But did it really happen? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're stepping into the shoes of investigative historians to uncover a mind-blowing global secret. We are talking about a piece of hidden history that literally rewrites the map of the ancient world.
I mean, think about it, a journey of that massive scale all the way back in the 1st century. It sounds almost mythic, right? Almost impossible. But we're going to dig into the historical records and the actual physical evidence left behind to see if this incredible story holds up to scrutiny. Now, if you ask most people when Christianity arrived in India, you'll usually hear the exact same common myth. It was brought over by British rulers or maybe European traders centuries and centuries later. But the astonishing truth, the actual timeline we're investigating today, pushes that arrival date all the way back to 52 AD. We're talking about a completely different era here, totally separate from those later European trade missions. So who is the central figure in this massive global mystery? It's St. Thomas. You probably know him from the Bible by his famous nickname, Doubting Thomas. And here is the absolutely crucial part. He wasn't just some later follower or a distant missionary. He was one of the original 12 apostles. That makes him a direct eyewitness to the events of the 1st century, which makes his alleged journey to the Indian subcontinent just immensely significant to global history. And this mystery is grounded in hard, undeniable dates. His arrival in Kerala in 52 AD, that's just a few short years after the crucifixion of Jesus. The timeline then extends to 72 AD, marking his martyrdom, and comes right up to the present day, where his burial site still remains intact. We aren't just looking at some vague, murky era. We are tracking a very specific 1st century footprint. To put that into perspective, this means his mission predates almost all Western European influence. Just let that sink in for a second. Long before the teachings of Jesus ever reached major European strongholds like Rome or Britain, Thomas was out there, walking the bustling streets of Kerala in South India. It completely flips our normal geographical assumptions, showing us that this history moved eastward way, way before it took root in the West. But you have to wonder, how did a foreigner survive, let alone thrive, in ancient India? Well, he integrated himself deeply into the culture. Thomas actually took the time to learn the local language, which let him share his teachings directly. And local oral traditions vividly preserve stories of him performing stunning miracles that left the locals completely awestruck. Through this deep integration, he successfully established the ancient Syrian Christian community, shaping a totally unique identity that has been remarkably preserved through generations. Here's a highly specific, kinda quirky detail from the historical record. 7.5. During his time in Kerala, Thomas is credited with establishing exactly 7.5 churches. He didn't just stand around preaching, he actually built permanent physical structures to anchor this brand new community he was fostering. Okay, so after laying down those deep roots on the western coast, Thomas decided to push his mission even further. He packed up and traveled thousands of miles eastward, all the way across the southern peninsula, toward modern-day Chennai. It really highlights his relentless drive to reach new landscapes and connect with entirely new communities. But now, we reach the climax of our historical mystery. As you can probably guess, whenever you introduce radical new ideas into a well-established ancient society, friction is pretty much inevitable. Thomas's revolutionary teachings and his rapidly growing influence eventually led to a dangerous clash. The historical accounts tell us that his presence really angered the local authorities in that region. And sadly, that clash ended in tragedy. In the year 72 AD, Thomas was martyred. This took place on a prominent rocky hill that is now known to history as St. Thomas Mount. Just imagine that ancient landscape for a moment. A 1st century apostle meeting his final moments thousands of miles from home. Because of this, India holds an incredibly rare distinction. It is literally one of the very few countries in the entire world where an original apostle of Jesus is buried. The craziest part? You can still see the physical proof of this journey today. His final resting place sits right inside the breathtakingly beautiful Santhome Basilica in Chennai. It creates this amazing visual contrast, right? You have this sacred 1st century history sitting right smack in the middle of a bustling modern Indian cityscape. It's like a direct bridge connecting 72 AD straight to the present day. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really consider how these ancient traditions managed to survive against all odds. They were kept alive by oral history and unshakable faith for over 2 millennia.
It's a lot to weigh, isn't it? If a global secret this massive can be hidden in plain sight for so long, you've got to ask yourself, what other impossibilities of history are out there just waiting to be rediscovered?